So today on Idiot School Running, again, we have Gary. Say hello, Gary.
Hello.
On our show, we've got a guest who likes to run. Do they really? Do they jog around the place just for fun? That's not fun. Are they a professional athlete? Nope. Lining at the start with the elite? It don't matter. We've got a guest on our show because we asked and they didn't say no. It don't matter because our show has a guest. It does. Pretty much because we asked and they said yes.
So, Gary, you're back on the Idiot School Running podcast. I didn't scare you too much last time, did I?
Well, you did actually. I'm kind of frightened to come back on again, but here I am.
Kind of frightened. Gary, I've now, since the last time I've ran in about 3 of your events, I think it's about 3. And credit to you, they've all been fantastic and I've loved every single one. We'll start off. So we're now into 2025. And I would say it's a perfect time of year for everyone to start training and set your sights on that big, lovely goal. What have you got on this year, Gary? What's coming up this year for yourself and We Run Wild NI?
For personal races, you mean, for myself?
Start with yourself. So let's start with you, Gary. What have you got going on?
Absolutely nothing. To be honest with you, I've been injured. Went away last year to done 2 100 miles, then decided, we'll go and do another one. And then after the third one, halfway through it, and my leg just went. So I haven't basically ran in about 4 months. My knee's absolutely banjo.
Do you know what? I did see you at the Newcastle Way Trail and you were limping about. You're still limping? Well, you're in good company because Andrew, which you've obviously met, you obviously know, co-host of the show. Andrew is probably similar to you. He hasn't ran in about 4 months. And did you know, this is quite funny, that your event, which was the 108 mile, was a third of his running last year?
Yeah. He can just go out and do things,
Yeah, well, he keeps himself fresh. He doesn't really get injured that much. He just turns up and he rocks out. So a third of his running last year was that. Gary, tell us a bit about what races, events have you got coming up this year?
Well, quite a few, obviously. We've just listed our races for 2025. We have February, we have the Rabbit Run. April, we have Castle to Castle, which is an ultra and a marathon. 31st of May is the big one, which you're hopefully in again for, the Northern Iron 100. So in the Northern Iron 100, we have the 108, we have a half marathon, we have a 37-mile ultra, and we've put in a marathon. So that's all happening as one big event this year. Then we have listed Belfast to Londonderry again in June, the Famine Way, which is another 104-mile in the south of Ireland. We're in the process of finalising things for that at the moment as well. Waterfoot to Ballycastle, again, trail marathon on the 9th of August, and our Newcastle Way on the 5th of October. So we've quite a bit there to get going on with, and there's a couple of other ones I'd like to do, but we'll see how things go.
That sounds so exciting. And Gary, if you do allow me, I will be in the 108 mile run again.
Of course.
And that's what I'm training for. I've knuckled down, Gary. I'm training. I'm doing back-to-back miles on the weekend. It started good. I'm feeling fit. I'm feeling fresh. 4 days a week in the gym. My brother's still sitting in the house watching YouTube videos, but he might not be on it with me because he said he had such a blast the last time, Gary. Nothing against the race, by the way. He had such a blast that he said, I don't think that I could have more fun than I had in the last one. But Gary, it allows me to get rid of that ball and chain. That's the right word. Yeah, ball and chain. And he's going to be my crew for this race. And we had such a ball. And food, will the food be the same as it was last time, Gary?
Well, it might be a little bit different. You'll get an email from us very, very soon asking for a few suggestions. There's no guarantee that those things that you suggest obviously will be on the menu, but yeah, we want to cater more this year for what people actually do want rather than what we think they want.
Hold on a wee second. So you're taking food suggestions? Am I right in saying this?
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't expect if you're going to put on there like fillet steak. There's no guarantee you're going to get a fillet steak. So
no, you say there's no guarantee, but there is a possibility.
Well, the bravery might work well, So we'll see.
Here's my first thing. So when this podcast goes live, there will be a previous one, and it is from a guy called Ryan, who's nicknamed the burger guy. Now, he lives in America, and he just turned up to a trail supporting his mate. And he brought his barbecue with him, his propane tanks, his coolers and everything, and he just started flipping burgers. He had vegan burgers options as well. So I'm not saying you should maybe fly him in, but the burger guy is a great shout. And the Famine Way, so every other race that you spoke about there, I've seen previously on your website, and I've ran a few of them, and they've all been great crack. But the Famine Way is new, is that right?
The Famine Way is a new event for us. Obviously, we're trying to look to get into the south of Ireland. It's kind of untapped, basically, down there. So we thought it would be good to get in with a 100-mile run. Looked at a few locations, and the Famine, I think, is perfect for the first attempt to do one in the south. Relatively flat course. It follows the Royal Canal, and it also has a bit of history behind it as well. So it's not just just go out and run that run. It does have history because it follows the famine when the guys left Strokestown and headed off. It's quite an iconic route and iconic run, so it celebrates that as well.
Yeah, I think it was the 1850s.
It's in and around that date. I do have it on our website on the description about the Famine Way. So it is quite iconic,
Famine, there wasn't much to eat. Will there be food in this trail? Let's get back to the food again, Carrie. Will there be food in this trail, or will it be a famine ultramarathon?
Have our aid stations along the route. So it'll be similar to the Norn Iron 100. That is the plan. That is the plan. We're still obviously finalising details of where the aid stations are going to be in that. But yes, for over 100-mile run, we have to supply those aid stations. So.
And Gary, where do we go from here? So we've had the Norn Iron 100, we've had the Famine Way, and has there been much interest on this Famine Way yet?
Lots of interest since we put it out there. There's been a lot of interest in it. So as I say, until I actually get it opened, it's going to be very, very difficult to say how many people will actually take part. But certainly the initial response was very, very good. Open obviously because it's in the south, that we attract a lot of people in the south as well.
So, Gary, as usual, Andrew's not on the guest episodes, and he has a question. Now, I've been doing my best to convince Andrew to join me on the Famine Way trail, because I would love to do the Norn Iron 100 and the Famine Way. But you said you got injured just by doing 200 miles. Is it a good idea to do 100-mile races that close together? What's your thoughts?
Mixed opinions, to be honest with you. Obviously ours were a month apart, which is kind of similar to what the NI and the Famine Way will be. I hadn't done a lot of training, so I hadn't been out doing much running anyway, and I kind of just went out and winged those. And so I think because I hadn't been training, that's kind of where it stemmed from. And then I do have old knee injuries anyway, but that certainly didn't help it. Depending, it's an individual thing. If you speak to the experts, I'm sure the experts are going to turn around and say, you're mad in the head, even 100 mile is too much for anybody to stick to in month after month, then, But,
well, when you say you're mad in the head, that's speaking my language, You don't want to be normal. You want to be a bit different. You want to try something. You want to push your body a bit further. And how do you know what happens until you hit that their limit?
Exactly. And that's I think that's kind of people's mentality, really, isn't it? And see how it goes. And if I can do it, I'll do it. If I don't, well, at least I tried.
The crowd I was talking to in that Norn Iron 100, I would say you're going to have a few of them ones down, because a few of them ones are nutcases. Sorry, I take that back. A few of them ones have a really strong mentally. I had to rephrase that one, Gary, because I don't want no negative emails coming my way. But we'll get on to Andrew. So Andrew has a question, as usual. I'm going to play this question, and so I asked Andrew. I said, Andrew, your questions are getting a bit normal. I said, push the boat in this one, and this give us something different. And do you know what? He doesn't fail to disappoint. Here's Andrew's question. Good luck.
Gary, you're in a 100-mile race and you're at mile 50, which is actually the halfway point of the race. You come up to an aid station and there's a man dressed as a banana, and he says, you may pick one item from the table. He's Swedish and on the table is a potion with a note which says, if you drink this, you will have supersonic hearing for 38 minutes. Next on the table is the best pair of trail running trainers in the world. I'm not sure what they are, by the way, but the left shoe is filled with paella and the right shoe is filled with raspberry jelly. The final item is an orange disguised as a banana. You have to choose one item. Which item is it, and why did you choose that item?
That's a very, very good question. How on earth does he think these things up?
I would say it could be non-prescription drugs. No, I'm only joking. Andrew doesn't take drugs. Andrew does not take drugs. I put that out there. So, Gary, you've got, what was the first one? You've got a potion, which gives you supersonic hearing. You've got trail shoes with paella and raspberry jelly in either one. And you have a banana disguised, or an orange disguised as a banana.
I think I would probably have to go for the orange disguised as a banana.
Is that a pure trail running, like you like bananas when you're on the trail?
No, the first one, I like to not hear anything, to be honest with you. You know, because when I'm running along with Gillian's talking, it's hard to listen to sometimes. So if I had supersonic hearing, it would be even worse.
Yep. You hear a lot of Gillians?
Yeah, exactly. And the second one, I don't like paella. So, yeah, even the thought of putting food into paella, just so I'd have to go for the third option. Keep my fingers crossed.
Do you know what, Gary? That's actually just process of elimination. You know, you're really, you know, and what's the worst that can happen? You know, you pick up an orange and you get a banana. That's not a bad thing. To me, that's a positive. And that's what I found when I was out on the 100-mile race, was going, you can never get enough bananas.
Yeah.
Like there's sweet stuff, there's gels, you get sick of them, but banana, you never get sick of bananas.
Exactly. Just go for the safe option.
Just go for the safe option. And I suppose, Gary, have you got any other plans then for yourself to do running? You said you haven't got any other plans. You're currently injured. Are you going to be doing any of these races, or
unfortunately I can't do the races, obviously, because I'm organizing them, so I need to be there on the day. With all of the races, we run them, we run the routes ourselves before the events, just obviously to make sure that we can do them and make sure that they're feasible. So much as I would like to be able to actually take part in one of those events when the event's running, it's not an option for me, but it's certainly an option for Gillian.
You've ran the Famine Way then already?
No, not yet. I was in the process just before Christmas of going down and doing that, and then the leg went, so I got a bike to cycle it.
Okay.
Then the weather turned really bad, so that didn't happen. So it's on the cards. It has to be done this month. So it's
on the cards. It has to be done this month. And you know, you're saying that, but I have looked it up. I have looked up the course, and it is very flat. There's no hills. There's no scary things. There's no, like, the NI 100, you're hitting some bogs, you're hitting some hills, you know, you're hitting different terrain. This one seems really achievable, and with a 30-hour cutoff. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. Obviously, the Norn Iron is 34. This one's 30. There's no hills. Been online. I've checked it out. I've mapped it. I've done it on OS maps, fly-throughs on it, so I've done all that kind of stuff, but I haven't physically been on the course. I have spoke to a couple of people who have been on the route, because there was one comment that somebody had put on to say they wouldn't do it because it was totally tarmac, and spoke to someone else and said that's a lot of nonsense, you know. So it's, you know, until I physically go and do it myself, you know, I couldn't obviously say.
And what's wrong with total tarmac?
People running for that length of distance don't want to run on tarmac.
I just think you're speaking to my brother, going, this is all tarmac, this is nice. Because he always, you know, them bogs frightened him a wee bit, you know. There's water and a wee bit messy, and he got a wee bit mucky sometimes, you know. Yeah. So down to shoes, could you do this in like a handful of marathons, fancy carbon running shoes?
I wouldn't do it in carbon running shoes, to be honest with you. And, you know, and again, obviously, once I see the course, then I'll be in a better position. Carbon running shoes are for short distance run. Now that's my own personal opinion, and they're for short distance run, for fast run, carrying no equipment, no nothing.
Yeah. Say you had 4 pairs of them, Gary. Say you had 4 pairs and it was four short distance, and then you hit a point, and then you're like, I'm going to go again.
Okay, maybe put a wee rule in there that you're not allowed 4 pairs. Maybe that would be something.
Well, Gary, see if my wife lets me buy 4 pairs of fancy carbon shoes, but you're not a fan of carbon shoes?
No, I wouldn't.
Why not? Old school.
I am old school, yeah. Old school.
Old school, old money, old times, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything you want to bring to the table, you want to say, or is there anything you want to get off your chest, Gary?
No. No, there's not.
Has Gillian got any races planned? Let's jump on to Gillian, sure.
The problem with Gillian is because she relies on me, and if I don't run, she doesn't run. She won't enter any events unless I'm doing events. So
okay.
We were supposed to be going over this at the end of this month to do the Arc of Patrician. Unfortunately, we're going to have to cancel that now. I'm not able to do the 50 mile because of my knee. There's no way. It's the last 50 of the Arc course, and it is one tough course, so there's no way I'll be able to run that. Next thing on the cards, well, she has booked to do Manchester to Liverpool again, but I've said I'm not doing it. I've done it 2 years in a row, so I have to go over with her anyway, so we'll see.
How far is Manchester to Liverpool?
50 mile.
It's actually interesting. You jumped onto that Arc of Patrician one, yeah?
Yeah.
I have been looking at that going, you know what, that's a is that a UTMB qualifier one?
It is, yeah, UTMB qualifier, yeah.
So I was looking at that and you said that's a really hard course. That's something which I'm looking at going, I would like to do that. All my kids are going to be in high school next year. I might have a bit more free time during the week. Could I squeeze that one in? Would you recommend doing that one? Have you done it before?
We went over 3 or 4 years ago to do that. Can't remember how far in we got, but I had to pull out. My eyes went and I started seeing things and unsafe to carry on. I couldn't focus. We were running along the coastal path and I was in front. Gillian was behind me and she was saying, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "There's nothing wrong. Why? What's wrong?" She said, "You're all over the place." I said, "I'm not." But at that time, I couldn't really see. And when I was looking in front of me, any lights were just massive rainbows around my eyes. So she says, "There's something wrong." I said, "Well, to be honest with you, I can't see." She said, "Right, we're stopping." So I had to pull out at the aid station.
So you actually ran, so you didn't even see things, you just seen nothing?
I was seeing just rainbows. That's all I could see. You could barely see the path. And, if you were coming along and you seen a light, it was just, my eyes were just rainbows. At that point, I thought, it'll disappear, it'll pass, but...
Or else you'll hit a pot of gold somewhere down the road.
Or fall over a cliff.
Fall over a cliff. And is there any other running stories, Gary, from your experience that you can throw onto the show? Because I love people's stories about people's running experiences and what they've been up to.
Yeah, well, as you know, we do a 100-mile run every year, and we've done it in Berlin, so we're back again. Well, I'll have that one organised back again. This will be the 10th year in a row that we've done Berlin 100. And there's stories on that event, 1 year we done it, and Gillian got to the point where she was seeing things, hallucinating, imagining that people were giving her strawberries. She actually lay down at one point on the path and said to me, "Go on, just leave me here." People were actually stopping and going, "Do you know this man?" And "Yeah, he's my husband."
What about the other ones giving me strawberries?
Exactly, totally weird things,
Wow,
that's absolutely crazy. But
I should start a segment on the show. Like, have you hallucinated and what have you seen?
I'm sure you'll get plenty. You'll get plenty of people. Yeah,
people feeding you strawberries could be one of my favorite ones. I've heard Snowy Isles. Do you know what? There's a guy in the show that's seen Steven Seagal. Yeah. He was on the trail with him. Yeah. So a lot of funny ones. Yourself, have you only seen rainbows, Gary? Is that all you've ever seen?
That's all I've ever seen. Yeah, it wasn't a hallucination. It was actually.
Your eyes were going. Do you think you weren't fed enough? Do you think, what was the reason behind that? What's your tip to stop that their point of hallucination or stopping hallucinations? Have you got any tips?
For that there, I wouldn't know, but I think I hadn't probably eaten enough, and
that's what it was.
Running in a long distance event, you tend to go, yes, I'll have something. You get to a point where yes, you're eating, and then it becomes a point where you kind of go, I don't really want to eat that. I'll wait for another mile, and then that goes on and it goes on, and you miss out, you know. So hydration and food is a key factor. Like.
So definitely, because my brother, I'm trying to convince him to go down to the Famine Way event, and his question to me is, "Where's the closest McDonald's?" I am not kidding you, Gary. So I'm having to do recce the route, see what's going on, and then go, where's the McDonald's? Where's the closest McDonald's? Can we get a delivery of McDonald's? And as you say, it's all tarmac. It's easy. It should be easy to get to. There'll be car parks, and
I'll have all that information obviously once I get down there. You know.
And then I suppose from Andrew, the other question I had was logistics. Getting to the start and getting to the finish.
We haven't arranged that yet, obviously, because of the way things are, and we don't know how many people are going to enter. So obviously, with the Norn Iron 100, we know we need a bus to take people from the finish to the start. My intention for the Famine will be exactly the same. Obviously, it's starting in Strokestown. Strokestown is in County Roscommon. And you're finishing in Dublin. So you're going to finish at the Famine statues, basically, in Dublin. People to get back there is a bus service, but it's a very, very limited bus service.
Yeah.
If you're going to drive to Strokestown and then, run to Dublin and expect to get back there for your car, it's going to be very, very difficult. So I am looking at the possibility of transport from Dublin to Strokestown. That, I have been emailing Buffalo, who aren't very forthcoming, basically, with replies. But that is my intention, and again, obviously, I don't know the cost of that until.
You would say morning of it, you get a bus from the finish to the start. You would leave your car at the end, get a bus from the finish to the start. So when you get to the end, you're ready.
It's there. Your car,
and then. So I'm throwing a lot of issues at here, you Gary. So I get to the end. My wife has said, I'm working 2 jobs, Colin. I won't see you at the end. Andrew's family goes, that's okay. We'll come down and get you. So Andrew's leaving me at the finish line. Okay. Yeah. So is there the train station close by?
The train is literally within 10 minutes walk, 15 minutes walk from the finish. So the actual train is there, So
like Gary, this isn't a 15 minutes walk. We were on Wild and 15 minutes walk, which is actually 2.5 hours walk.
No, it's genuinely it's right. The finish is right beside the bus station. So it is, which is right beside the train station.
So anyone, here we go. That's a selling point. Anyone who's coming from around the Belfast area or needs to get back to the Belfast area, whenever you finish, you have a bus straight home. So all you need to do is get to that starting line.
That's it.
Yep, and then obviously the easy part is getting to the finish line, and then a bus straight back up home.
Yep, exactly. So get somebody to drag you to Strokestown, drop you off at the start, and get the bus or the train back to Belfast or whatever.
Gary, you've just made my day, because I'm going, how am I going to get back up home? That is absolutely incredible. So easy access back up. People who live in Dublin can go from Strokestown to Dublin. They're back home. Everyone's back home. Everyone's a winner. Well planned.
Yeah, and I mean, if we are organizing the bus from the finish to the start, the bus journey is roughly about 2.5 hours.
Gary, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. And once again, you're how many people have been on twice on our show? I think we've had maybe 1 or 2 people, but you're in very, very a small group of select people have been on our show twice. But Gary, thank you so much for coming on today and answering all my questions and maybe other people's questions about the new Famine Way and all your events coming up. And all I'll do is I'll put in the show notes all the events, the link to the website, the link to yourself, and anything else that I'm kind of missing. And if people want to reach out and contact you, what's the best way?
They can send me an email through We're on Wild or Messenger, whatever. My phone number's on the website as well, so feel free. We'd always aim to answer your questions very, very quickly. Registration hasn't opened for most of those events, but they will be open. A lot of them will be open for the end of January. The Norn Iron 100, quick plug in again, is open for all events. Get in there. Yep. You don't know what you're missing. Yeah.
Honestly, Gary, it is an experience. It is the one event. I don't know. I'm starting to look forward to every year. I did say to someone that I have 2 Christmases potentially coming up this year. One is the Norn Iron 100, and one is potentially the Famine Way. Really, really looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm going to say it for, I just always apologize about Andrew. He's going to be about the place in a car, causing havoc, talking to people, and potentially holding people back.
Bring you back this year. You were busting to get going last year. I seen all the videos and seen the thoughts, and it was that plan, Andrew, that was holding you back.
Oh, Gary, ball and chain. I call him the ball and chain. People say that about their wife. I say that about my brother. I'm now ready to go, and I want to do it sub 24 hours. That's my plan for this year. Focused, I'm in the zone, and I'm ready to go. Gary, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And did you enjoy it?
I did indeed, yes. And once again, thank you for inviting me onto the show. And thanks so much for your support as well.
It's just my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I love it. I love running it. And yeah, I'm glad that you run it. And you don't get enough credit for all the work you do in the background and everything. Before the show, you were on saying I've got emails coming through, this coming through, and constant working, a lot of hard work in the background to put in these courses that people go and run, and they go through pain, and you probably by that stage your pain's over.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Gary, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Paul. All the best.